Hey guys, welcome back. And today I'm jumping on the second panel. I'm just gonna finish inking that part of it. And of course, this is the book Demon of Old Malaya, written by Kenneth Churail, and of course, illustrated by myself. And this will be published under the Chain Link Studios banner. And this one is kind of a side shot of this figure in the foreground. Then we're just going to put some details in and then darken the form because we have the light source a bit further from her, and also to frame the other character that's walking up to her. So if you notice, it's not so much of a time-lapse video this time, it's just slightly sped up. And let's see if that works, or we'll just go back to the time-lapse style for the next one, depending on how long it is. And if you're watching, and if you are an aspiring comic book artist or writer, it's great to have you along. Or if you're just a fan, just curious of the process, it's great to have you here as well. And honestly, compared to every other style of illustrated art, comic books, superheroes, they are the most fun thing to draw, especially if you can get them right and get them looking like the way your favorite artists do them, or even do them differently. It's just so satisfying. And honestly, it's like, for myself, I've always grown up with superheroes. I started drawing them, especially the Marvel characters. They were big in the 90s. And the stuff that I'm working on is pretty far removed from that. So it's usually crime or horror thrillers which have no superhero characters at all, no spandex. You get to draw a bit of anatomy here and there, and really it's a good opportunity for growth, I'd say, especially on a book like this where there's a lot of organic shapes. You have to do a lot of folds and drapery, and you get to test your limits as to your understanding of these things. I'm by no means perfect. Most times I wing it, but there's a lot of space to educate yourself, especially things like plants and using reference for vehicles. Some of it you can construct out of your imagination just to suit the story, or a prop that is a certain shape for a framing device perhaps. And sometimes it's out of laziness, but you should try and avoid that. And anyway, always have a look back at the artwork once it's done. Once you're done, even if you're done inking it, nothing is set in stone. You can always go back with a bit of white out or opaque white, and adjust those lines or the form according to how those things need to look. And especially if you're an artist and if it's your first project or you're working with a writer for the first time and they're giving you feedback on the way the shots should look, or there are changes by the editor, or it's just you and your friend going over it and you need to troubleshoot it to make it more exciting. If you find yourself in a position where you find it a bit more, what's the word? If you're intimidated by it, or if you are feeling that maybe they're being a bit too picky, or it's a hassle for you to do it, it's usually a sign, and of course I'm using myself as an example, it's usually a sign of a lack of ability. If you do notice that you have trouble redrawing a certain scene, that you worry about getting it right the second time, it usually means that you need a bit more practice to lay down the basic shapes or compositions for a shot. So it's something that if you notice yourself doing, that maybe you can throw that question to yourself. Do I need more practice? Am I really comfortable with how I go about the basic construction of things? Because as you become more confident or more skillful, the basic parts of constructing these drawings, especially the figures, become easier and you don't focus on them so much. And even if you had to erase them or change the pose, it's something that you would do with more excitement. And of course, like me, when I was a bit further behind in my development, it was always very intimidating, and it always limited you in terms of the frustration you'd feel, because you would feel that somehow the decisions you were making weren't good enough, when in fact it's just that you just needed to make better decisions with a bit more input. And it's so easy when you feel more confident laying down the lines and you have more control over your ability to compose the shots or construct the characters. And what I mean by that is to have control over those basic shapes and proportions, and you're able to pose them or lay them out the same way time and time again without thinking about it. And the way you achieve that is by sketching. Just have a little sketchbook next to you. If you're at work, if you're at the office desk, or even if you're working retail, if you're at the register, those lulls that you have between assignments or customers, just keep doing a headshot or a half body shot or construction lines for the head till it becomes second nature, and it's going to free you up so much, free you up to think about the more important things. And when you're not concentrated so much on the figures per se, it helps you look at the broader composition, and also you have time to factor in more elements of the drawing: perspective, light and shadow. And because it's a mental task, you don't get it right every time, and I'm always making mistakes here, there, everywhere. And I bet you there's a few that, if you're sharp enough, you can catch in the work that I'm doing right now. But having said that, just work it till the end. At least that's how I approach it. So work it to the end, and if there are minor tweaks, we'll get on it. After the page is done, I'll have a look again at the lighting, the shadows, the edge construction of the silhouette, refine those edges, maybe correct them later. And it's so much fun, actually, once you get a result that two or more parties agree with, to see that you've made something that is not only personally satisfying, but as well something that has brought another person's vision to life. Maybe not exactly, but close. And it gives you that drive to do more work. And if you're an artist, you probably need attention and validation as well. And as nice as it is to get it, make sure you're getting it in the right place for the right reasons. And if you do get feedback or criticism, it's going to be the most helpful thing, but it might not be the easiest thing. But you should have enough of an ego that it doesn't stop you, but also not too much of an ego that it stops you from listening to the practical advice. And always try to talk to people who are better than you, who have more experience than you. And in my experience, they've always helped, and they've always given very valid advice. So if you have such resources, do call on them. And I guess this week we'll be completing this page, so maybe after this there's another half a page to ink, and I'll hope to see you there as well. So as we tidy up and get the little details in, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, hit the bell, comment, give me suggestions on what you like to see or what you think of the contents of the video itself. You can follow me on Instagram at Zack Dewitt. Thank you so much for viewing the video. See you next time, and hopefully we'll get through this whole book. Yep, the production of the book itself. You'll be able to join in, witness it right here, the actual illustration of it. And yeah, that's it. So as I said, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and thank you so much for your time. Bye guys.